All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of SandersAquatics. So tonight I have set up 5 different breeding projects. I'm going to walk you through what I set up, and we got a whole lot of bonuses I'll show you on kind of what we're doing and where we're at here. So we'll start at the beginning here. We didn't have any of our jewels going through and breeding. We actually still have quite a few of them right now, but we didn't have any more breeding, so we don't have any more. We have a few hundred in the grow out process, but these guys are very, very popular. So we've set up 2 more new breeding projects. So we've got one here. We go through, and I've showed you guys before on how we go through and set it up. We've got a small girl and a small boy in there. They may still be too young to go through and breed, but I set it up with line of sight blockers and things in there, and they loved breeding these terracotta pots over here. And so the second one I have another terracotta breeding project I've set up over here. I did it a little bit different. I've left all the old algae and stuff that was in this tank here intentionally, and I've gone through and I've put this swordtail or the sword plant in here to go through and put a line of sight blocker in there, do something a little bit different. But same thing, I got terracotta pot set up in there. I'm using the plant as a line of sight blocker, and I got somewhere for them to get away if they need to get away. The next project we set up here, we went through, I won these guys at auction. These are a couple of rainbows that we had won, the Bosmanes or however you want to go through and say it, put it out there. But what I've done here and what my game plan is, I've never actually bred these guys, but I've bred a lot of other rainbows and had a lot of success with them. We breed a lot of Pracox rainbows, and we've done some Fraccata rainbow breeding and things. But these guys, I haven't bred them since I won them. So I wanted to go through and set up a breeding project here for these guys. So what I've done, I have gone through and basically put in spawning mops. I put in a bunch of hornwort in there. I put another spawning mop down there on the bottom. So I've given them lots of area to go through and breed. My intent, and I'm going to try to approach this as a working man's way, is I'm going to go through, leave them in this tank for about 2 weeks. When you're breeding rainbows, the eggs take about 2 weeks to go through and start hatching out. So I'm going to leave them in there for right at 2 weeks, and then I'm going to go through and pull them out and basically see what we end up getting. I just leave it all set up like it is and see what it does, and it's a little bit different approach than what I've been doing. But I am going to take a tip from a couple of folks that have been watching, and a lot of my breeding projects I'm going to go through, and I got catappa leaves that I'm going to use to go through and see if I can't help to keep some of these eggs from fungus and without using the methylene blue. So I've got one of the tanks, I've already put some in, and it turns your water brown. Keep that in mind because it's going to do it. But I'm going to try it with these guys. I'll probably wait a day or two before I put it in there before they start laying eggs. But usually they're next day laying eggs. The next breeding project I have set up, we've gone through and we are starting to run out of fish that we've bred, which seems odd, but it does happen. So our tiger barbs, my wife got me hooked on these guys, and I fell in love with them. So we set up a new kind of way to go through and breed our tiger barbs, and I'm going to go ahead and throw the catappa leaves in there. I should have brought them down here so I can show you what I'm going to do. It doesn't take a whole lot, and if you put a whole lot in there, it's going to really brown your water. But we're trying it a little bit different way. I've been looking for something that would basically create a floating kind of net that the eggs can fall through and they can't get to. My wife found these little baskets at Dollar Tree or Dollar General or something. I think Dollar Tree. Oh, she's nodding her head at me. Yeah, I got it right. So these got a bunch of little grooves that the fish can't get through. I used a spawning mop to go through and trick them and basically make them think it's a plant. I only have one boy and one girl in there. We'll give them a couple days in there, and then we'll pull them out and we'll see what we get. But the catappa leaves, when you're putting them in there, I just break off a couple small pieces, and it's hopefully going to help these guys from going through and fungusing over, and maybe we'll get a little higher yield out of them. But you just get them in there, get them soaked in there, and they're good to go. So we're going to do the same. We got another breeding project down here. how many we showed you now? 1, 2, 3. That's number 4. And then we have number 5 set up here. And you're not going to be able to see in here because we've already added our catappa leaves in here. Like I said, it turns your water brown. Very old school way to go through and do this is to use your marbles, but we are breeding our black skirts. We actually gave our last couple black skirts out to one of our winners from our giveaway. So that was the last school of black skirts that I had. So we gave them to him, except for one we had hidden that I couldn't find the other day when I was moving them and catching them out. But he kind of showed up out of nowhere. But if you ever move fish, it does it like that sometime. But a couple of different bonuses. So when you're doing this and you have this many tanks going and you're breeding all the time, there's always breeding projects and you get surprises. So as you're going through and you're doing all of this, so like our surprise tanks that we haven't intentionally set up to breed. So we've got peacock rainbows down here. We got a boy and a girl in there, and they may just turn around and go through and breed for us tomorrow. Who knows? Same thing with our angelfish. We have an angelfish pair in here. We've been trying to get them to be mama and papa. They produce eggs like they're supposed to, and they hungrily devour them all the time. We got our swordtails. They're actually breeding in here, and we're starting to get some babies and stuff out of these guys. But they breed all the time for us too. It's effortless for us. But yet another breeding project that just happens. Another pair of peacocks in here. The girl's actually been holding about 2 weeks. She doesn't know it yet and ain't told her. Keep it a secret. I'm going to strip her tomorrow and she's going to not have any more babies. We've got our angels down here. They may just lay eggs for us at any point in time too. They've been laying on a regular basis. There's actually 2 breeding pair in there. They keep producing eggs, but they're not the best eggs. I don't know about the quality of these fish. I did get them from a big chain store. Not a big fan of that. And now that I'm trying to breed them and get them to do it, they're throwing out some deformed babies, different colored babies. I'm not real happy with what they're producing. So they're not of the quality that I'm wanting. Other breeding projects that just kind of pop up out of nowhere. Same thing. We got more peacocks down here. One of these girls was holding, and I let her hold too long, and she either spit them or ate them. I don't know which one, but I can't find any babies in there either, and I've looked and looked and looked. The next surprise breeding project that you get sometimes, we've got our bristlenose plecos in here. And there's a good chance right now I see the big boy sitting in the cave, guarding that cave. He's probably sitting on eggs. So we'll probably see some more come out of them here before long. They do a really, really good job at it. More breeding projects. We have all kinds of breeding projects in here that just kind of populate sometimes. It's the best way to go through and do this. We've got these little Santa Claus guppies in here. I love these guys. They're so, I don't know that they're really Santa Claus guppies, but that boy is just gorgeous. They're got tons and tons of babies, and if you've ever had guppies, you know they breed like crazy. More breeding projects that we continue to go. We just got them all the time. We moved all of our shrimps. I have not cleaned the front of this tank, but it's plumb full of algae. But we have our Blue Dream shrimp in here. They're going through and breeding. Exciting news. We've been trying to get our Hillstream loaches to breed for months and months and months and months and months. I put them in this tank, just gave them somewhere nice, happy, healthy to go through and be at. And I make sure they got food and change their water every once in a while. But I honestly given up on breeding them, but I left it just kind of set up. And today, as I'm down here messing around, I see hundreds of little bitty babies in there. So that was really exciting for me. Same thing here. We got our pygmy cories next to them. Our pygmy cories, I haven't aggressively tried to breed these, but these guys are actually breeding in this tank for us. So that's pretty cool. And that's another effortless breeding project for us. We've got down here, we got a pair of rams in here. This tank is just set up exactly to breed these guys. And they haven't bred one single time since I put them in here. Not working. Don't do it that route. More effortless breeding projects we have going on. We have our Forcata rainbows down here. We've got a bunch of plants and stuff that are floating across the top of it so that they can go through and hide their eggs in there and hopefully propagate. I have not directly tried to go through and breed these guys again, but they do breed in there sometimes. Right next to them, all our red cherry shrimp. I don't know if you guys have ever tried to move a tank full of cherry shrimp. You continue to find them. Even after you get the tank cleaned out and emptied. But there's hundreds of these guys in here. So their tank, they were in that 20-gallon that I was setting the jewels up in. And I went through and I would go through and I got all of them out that I could see, come back a little bit later and I find more. And then go back and then get all them out and we go through and then we find even more. Then we do it again. And then I clean all of the waste and stuff out of the tank. I got the water lowered real good, got all the decorations out, and then I find more. And then after I get all of those guys out, come back next day, I have more. I spent 4 days doing this. But anyhow, so next here, we got our red rillies going through and breeding there. Scout's got to back up, buddy. Scouts are wanting to be photogenic here today. So more breeding projects that we have going on that we have our multis that are in here. They're going through and they're breeding quite a bit. There's a whole bunch of babies in here. I had no idea how many they had in here until you really start getting to looking. But there's babies over there. That's a new batch over there. I hadn't seen them recently. There's a bigger batch back in there. There's another batch back in the corner. The biggest ones are down in here. This was the first group to go through and hatch out. But breeding projects on breeding projects, there's some that you directly set up to go through and target breed. That's what I've done today. But at any given point in time, I have babies, I have eggs, and just gives you something to do. On a side note, check it out. Come here. So, kind of excited. My next project I'm working on. So, if you saw our how to reseal tanks video the other day, and I'm not done with this, it's not the prettiest. We got our tanks resealed. I got the 75 set up, not all the way that I want to, but my game plan here with this thing is we have these gorgeous Brochardies that are down in here. And I'm going to put some of the gouramis in there to grow out until I get the 55 set up where I want it. If you get down in here, you can see this one of the Brochardies down up underneath there real good. Can you get him? Not really. They're in there. They're still a little tank shy. We just got them in here not too long ago. There's a big one down in there. But these guys were in there with our bristlenose, and our bristlenose had bred. And I knew they weren't a good combination, but our Brochardies are fat and healthy right now, apparently full of bristlenose babies because they ate every single one of them. I knew better. Shouldn't have done it, but you live and you learn. But we'll still finish setting this up and make it a little prettier here. But I will eventually go through and I'm going to set this up with some sand substrate and stuff in there to go through and try to target breed these Brochardies. I've got one pair that breed out in the garage all the time, and we're pulling babies out of there and going through and growing those guys out there. They're cool little fish. They won an award with us too because they were the sweetheart fish there for Valentine's Day. And on one last side note here, I've been asked a couple of times here, actually a bunch of times here, about going through and people acquiring fish from us. We are working currently on getting everything set up so that we can get you guys taken care of, get what you need. We ask for a lot of tolerance in our giveaway on us learning how to ship. So all of the fish that we shipped, we lost 2 out of all of it. We actually shipped 1 box in the middle of a heat wave. We did it on purpose. I wanted to go through and see if we could be successful going through and doing that, shipping fish in the middle of a heat wave. We did a lot of research and a lot of understanding and go through and try to get it right. And apparently we were successful. So I feel comfortable for people to go through and purchase fish from us. So we're going to get that set up for you guys. And then one last comment here. Stevie, you been asking for the Red Devil. He's hanging out. He's waiting for you. We're going to get him out to you. Probably send him out next week, I think is probably going to be the game plan. But we'll kind of keep an eye on the weather. I don't really want to ship in the middle of a heat wave or anything, but I think it's going to be a little cooler. But once again, we appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome as always. We're actually looking at doing another giveaway here come the 1st of July if I can get everything set up like I want it to. Let's keep our fingers crossed because it's going to be real cool. I want to try to help promote some of the mom and pop shops out there in the world, or see if we can actually make this work. But if you guys need anything, have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. As always, we appreciate you guys. Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching Sanders Aquatics.